everyone. I'm Mary Reece from NJPSA and FEA, and we're here today at our annual fall conference sponsored by New Jersey Principals and Supervisors Association, Foundation for Educational Administration, and NJASCD. We're really excited that our first keynote speaker of this conference is a renowned educator who's come to us from Washington. Delisle, Dr. Deborah Delisle, is the Executive Director and CEO of the International ASCD. And with us also is our friend and colleague, Maria Dare, who's the Executive Director of New Jersey ASCD. So Marie?
Thank you, Mary, for that very nice introduction. And we're delighted to have Deb Delisle with us today. She brings an international perspective along with outstanding experiences in the field of education. So Deb, as the new CEO and Executive Director of an international organization, can you tell us a little about the framework and the ASCD ecosystem that creates us the opportunity to understand the importance of educating a whole child?
Sure. And first let me say bravo to all of you for collaborating across the state of New Jersey. I just really give you a great compliment for doing that because it really benefits the children and all of the students actually in New Jersey, as well as all of the educators and the adults working with kids every single day. So I just want to champion your partnership. So at ASCD, which has been in existence for 75 years, you are aware that during the last 10 years, we have focused on the concept of the whole child framework. And in doing so, just about a year ago when I got to ASCD, I really wanted us to hone in on what were the most pressing issues and the complexities that we're facing educators every single day, along with trying to determine how those aligned with the products and services and programs that ASCD offers. And so we framed the whole child as the why. If you think about Simon Sinek's work on understanding why you do what you do every day, the whole child is our why at ASCD. New Jersey has been really supportive of that endeavor. And then what we did was we thought about the what. What are the complexities and challenges facing students that impact their learning every day and obviously teaching every day? So we came up with 5 communities of excellence. And those communities of excellence were derived from research, from focus groups, from talking to educators, not just in our country, but around the world. And those are focusing on teaching and learning, obviously, but also on transformational leadership, poverty and equity, redefining student success, and global engagement. And what we're finding now, which has been interesting for me, is that while the United States is still somewhat stuck on this notion that we have to measure all of the student success by standardized achievement tests, ESSA is providing an opportunity to move somewhat away from that, and I'm not condoning getting away from achievement tests, but placing them in the right order, if you will, or in the right space and time in a student's life. And really now we see a lot of states who are embracing a much more comprehensive, holistic view of educating children. So we've worked across the country with a lot of, in different states, to think about what would be the different accountability measure that's required now by every state to actually put into their accountability system. And people are looking at social and emotional learning, 21st century skills, finding students' passions, what are their aspirations. And what's particularly interesting to me is that on the international scene, that is what our international colleagues are looking at all the time. I was in Dubai earlier this year, and only one person spoke about achievement tests and the importance of them, and it was somebody from the United States. Everyone else was talking about, how do we make sure our kids are passionate about their learning and about their lives and hopeful for their future, and what about kids, how do we help them to feel good about themselves, and how do we help them to be happy? I can't tell you how many people just were talking about helping kids to find happiness in their own lives every single day in school. So I just really am really excited about being at ASCD and helping to promote this concept of the whole child.
It's such an important and complex responsibility that we have.
Yes.
And it is whole, it's entire. Academics is one part of it, arts are one part of it, athletics is a third part. But what we remember about school situations, teachers, other people who've affected our lives is the emotional connection and impact that they made on us. So if that's what international educators are talking about, we should be doing this.
Absolutely. If we think about it, in all my experiences across 42 years, I absolutely know that achievement is absolutely important, but kids we know cannot learn if their bellies are empty, if their teeth are hurting. So certainly the health of children, the physical health as well as the social and emotional health of children is really, really important. And kids have to find challenges in every day, right? So they have to be challenged and healthy, and they have to feel safe in their schools. And it's not just physical safety, but it's also that social and emotional safety where they find comfort in their environments and with their peers, and they know how to navigate all the challenges that we face in life. That's the concept of the whole child. And I'm just really enthused about all the work you're doing in New Jersey, because so many of you have embraced that notion and are really looking to not just be better in achievement test scores, but hoping throughout all of your work and your endeavors that kids find their own places every single day. It's just always my hope every day that kids leave school, every classroom, every day, feeling a sense of hope for their future, and that they want to come back to school the next day, and then we give them that opportunity to do so.
I think, Marie and I often talk about the idea of joyful learning. And
love
that's
that concept.
really what we are hoping to do in all the work that we collaborate on.
Right.
Developing the climate in a building where, as you say, students just want to come to school that day and just experience, such engagement. And I think, you're right on point when you say how well we work together. It's been years since Maria and I started together. What do we say?
Comrades in arms, right?
That's right.
We're the
Well
foot
said.
soldiers.
Exactly, 11 or 12 years ago. And we focus on teaching and learning, we focus on school leadership, and all of the programs that we design collaboratively are around the idea of bringing joyful learning to our students.
I love that phrase, joyful learning. Maybe hearing me say it more and more, and I'll always attribute it to you. But one of the things I think about throughout my career is, even especially during the last 5 years, when we've had such an emphasis on increasing standards for all kids, and it's been my belief that you can increase standards for kids, but if the culture and climate in a school is not right, the standards don't mean anything, right? So if kids don't feel that they have an advocate in school, or suddenly kids are faced with the complexities of new standards or higher standards, if you will, if they don't feel that there's somebody there to support them or to show them the way or to provide extra help and assistance or even that encouragement, the standards don't mean anything. So I feel like I'm always on this campaign about the culture and climate of schools, because that eats strategy every day for lunch. And unless we get that right and we just promote it all the time, our kids will suffer in the end if we don't focus on the culture and climate. So thank you for bringing that up.
Well, I'm glad that ESSA acknowledges that as well.
Yes.
And that we're not just focusing on achievement measures, that
Right.
culture and climate was something that was written into it.
Yeah.
So we think that's important to model for the professional staff as well. So this is a full-service conference. It's in a beautiful place. It's with excellent presenters. So it's about learning for adults and for the professionals who transfer that feeling and that information into their roles and responsibilities. And we hope that as an end product of that, if you can define it as a product, they transfer or they better understand how they felt in this learning situation and would enable that to happen for their students and their teachers as well. So it moves them from the concept of achievement and success into accomplishment, which is probably an end goal for all of us. What do you want to be when you grow up? Or what do you want to
I'm still
do?
trying to figure that out.
We all are.
We all are, right? And I think it also, in a conference like this, really models for kids. We always talk about in our mission statements about wanting us to develop lifelong learners. But if we as adults don't demonstrate that we are also learning and willing to change and embrace different methodologies or even challenge our own way of thinking about certain situations or philosophies, I just think it's really powerful for us to do that. So congratulations on offering such a wide array of opportunities. And I think we can't diminish either just the networking that occurs. So just this morning when I was walking in, I heard people say, oh, I got to catch you because I'm dealing with this issue. And I thought you told me you had the same situation happen last year. So that connectivity across colleagues is just so vital, and kids benefit. But we oftentimes forget that we need to do that as well, just the sharing And it's also just re-energizing ourselves and finding within our hearts why we began this whole long road of education as a profession for each one of us.
The other thing we do, tomorrow we'll be having our Visionary Awards and ASCD's Ernest Boyer Award, because we celebrate as well.
Yes.
And
Yes,
we
we
would like
do.
to model that as,
Yeah.
for students.
Right.
We do
Sure,
it for ourselves.
absolutely.
We think that our school should be celebrating all the positive things that occur. And we truly do have visionary leaders. When we will look at those videos, the whole 500 people here will be amazed at the work that's going on.
That's wonderful, yeah. Yeah, and all the achievements that people receive, they don't do it for rewards, but the fact that you acknowledge them and can reward them, it's just one more pat on the back for them. So thank you for acknowledging educators who are doing the right thing for kids.
It's inspirational for
Yeah.
everyone
I'm
who
sure.
hears about it, who lives it, who
Right.
sees it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Well, we're really happy you're with us.
Well, I'm
Yes.
happy to be here
We're
too,
delighted
so
you're with us.
I will become one of
Maybe,
your
I was gonna
partners as
say,
well.
Maybe it
Very
could be the
good.
first
Yes.
of many such gatherings.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
To
Absolutely.
share innovative and creative
Yeah,
ideas.
and thank you both for your leadership.
Thank
Leadership
you.
starts all the way at the top, and the vision that you both have together collaboratively is really critical.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maria.
Enjoy
Thank
the
you so much
conference.
for being
Thank
with
you all.
us.